It's a pleasure to be looking at all of you guys at 2:30. Still, the room is pretty full, so very happy to see that. I think the content has been pretty engaging. So I would be running the FSI panel today on AI, and with me we have some of the big boys, if I may say, within the FSI in UAE. So without further ado, I would like to start introducing one by one. So Mr. Amit Rajan, EVP of Mashreq Wholesale and Digital Banking and CEO of Mashreq Neo Ventures. Mr. Ali Imran, Chief Operating Officer of Commercial Bank of Dubai. Mr. Haishan Wu, Head of AI with AI-powered digital bank Zanbank. And Tariq Richi, Chapter Lead Data Science and AI for Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank. Welcome. So we'll be running this panel for 30 minutes, and thank you for all the esteemed panelists to be here and sharing your thoughts. So again, it's a Dataiku event. We heard from Phil Cody that it's a universal AI platform. It's an FSI panel, so of course, it wouldn't be a no-brainer to start my first question. In understanding the AI trends within the FSI, I mean, it's a most dynamic, I would say, industry AI, and I think it's the most used terminology also. I mean, AI is statistics, AI is data wrangling, AI is LLM, AI is machine learning, AI is a lot of things. And I mean, there's a massive traction across industries, including banking. So I would, and I'm sure the audience would like to hear what are the different trends that are changing the dynamics within the FSI. And I would request Mr. Ali to give his opinion on that.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for inviting me to this forum. I think from a trends perspective, as the word says, trend, it comes and goes in waves, what we see today, and I can be proven very quickly wrong because this trend is changing very fast given the evolution of the technology. At a thematic level, there are 5 things which I believe that are really shaping and impacting with the evolution of AI and Gen AI at the moment in the market. I think first and foremost, the level of hyper-personalization is really graduating to the next level. You see today the GPT and the impact on the bot technology. The bots existed for a long while, but this really thematically moving FSI and banking in per se into really a conversational banking mode. That's one sort of an impact which I see where near human-like or even more beyond human-like interactions are possible in the shape of the personalized conversational banking part. Second area which I see in the last 6 months picking up on the back of the more models being released by OpenAI will be agentic AI. Again, the evolution from automation to RPA and now IPA and then this session which was happening earlier as well mentioning multimodal. I think this one is really having a profound impact thematically in terms of energy sort of efficiency gains across all middle to back office functions, which are traditionally set like risk management, compliance, fraud. All of these process-centric areas, I feel, will be having a massive impact, and we already see it. And perhaps last but not the least is in the space of ESG. I also feel that both positive and negatives side of the AI is there. More positive at the moment. The challenges are there, of course, like any other technology, but it really is allowing the investment case and investment thesis to be analyzed by the financial services sector and banking in particular to make better decisions in the space of ESG. So these will be my 4 top themes, which I feel.
And a few of things I've just heard 5 minutes back. I think there was a meeting of senior management, and I heard this agentic AI. It's new to me, so I'll definitely go and dig in it. But I also heard that you said that AI is, across the value chain, and the impact is across there. So with this whole concept of the dynamics changing in FSI, I'm sure there would be more and more people would want to interact with AI, know what's going on in AI, how they can utilize AI. So maybe similar on the same point, Amit, I mean, what's your view on this, and how do you see things shaping up within the financial sector as per your experience?
Thanks. So I totally echo what Ali said. I think those points are very relevant. For me, it's like, you're living in the peak and the trough of AI at the same time. So you have the hype cycle. Normally, you go through the peak and then you go through the trough, and there's a way in which it moves. But right now, it's like AI, with the Gen AI piece, it's almost like you're at the peak and the trough at the same time. So if you look at your deep tech and your big tech companies, they're throwing money at bigger and bigger and bigger models. So it feels like the hype cycle, it's just blowing up. And then you go on the ground and then you realize, hey, it's not that easy to get value out of this. And then you sort of enter into the trough cycle where you're like, okay, there's bigger and better models, but how much impact is that really making on the ground? So from my point of view, I think, and from the banking point of view, especially given the state of regulations, we have seen almost every bank worth its name doing a lot of POCs. So this, we've piloted the ups and downs of Gen AI, I think, through 2024.
Right.
And 2025 is the year when the rubber hits the road. And that's when, you started to derive that kind of value. And that value will come in various forms. From the surveys that I was reading, about 29% to 30% of the use cases will be customer facing. So this is going to make a huge difference to the hyper-personalization point. At scale, we should be able to answer questions that make sense to each and every one of us. From agentic AI will definitely come in, and don't think of it like an RPA or a bot. It's about how do you have a digital workforce, a workforce that does not sleep, does not need vacations, does not eat, and they will be yours and my colleague over the next 3 to 4 years. And the idea is not that they are coming to take our jobs. It's more like, they are here to do the kind of work which we'd either rather not do, or we are unable to do because of the bandwidth issues, right? So it's about how do we get more efficient with the agents, and so for me, AI is less artificial intelligence, more augmented intelligence. It's less about AI coming to take our jobs. It's more about the person who knows AI and how to use AI will take the job of the guy who doesn't know how to use AI.
Right. Thank you, Amit, on that note. We have been also hearing about a lot of concept about, in an organization like bank, retail banking, corporate banking, risk compliance, there's so many line of businesses. And every line of businesses would traditionally do some kind of analysis. And of course, now moving on to ML, and of course, they would want to leverage Gen AI as well. But at the same time, there has been traditionally the center of excellence team that kind of drives value for these line of businesses. Do you see that thing changing in terms of the concept of democratization of data and AI with more and more people interacting with AI? Is there any specific programs which the banks run to ensure that there's some bit of AI literacy to non-technical people? And typically when any organization embark on these things, there's a massive resistance in change management, but I believe it is massively necessary for everyone to interact and understand what's going on with AI. So are there any specific programs that you see, Tariq, in your organization to kind of address these challenges, and also at the same time ensure that democratization is there for everyone to utilize and benefit from AI within your organization?
Yeah, thank you for this question. I think the concept of democratization started like a few years ago, and started with BI, and then we had like the search service. It went well. Then data science came into play, and then we said like, okay, so we'll give like people tool to start building models. And I think like people tried it out and didn't work. I mean, like at a certain point, you need people to have enough statistical knowledge, enough data science knowledge to do that. Now things are changing completely with generative AI.
Yeah.
Now, when I talk to people in the organization or even like elsewhere, like even when I talk to my wife, she knows really like what is a model, how to train a model, the importance of the data coming in, the importance of monitoring. They talk about like responsible AI. So people are trying out things. So therefore, democratization becomes very important. I mean, like you need to give to people who are interested the tools and the capabilities to try things, because you don't know which idea will bring your organization to the next level, right? So this happens with the internet, with even Excel. So giving like things, Excel file, Excel sheet to somebody and say like, okay, so do something. Many people try to use it like in a normal way, but some people like did great with it. Same thing with Gen AI and AI. I think like it's very important. Now, does it mean like give a tool to people and tell them like, okay, build model and put in production? Absolutely not. It's very scary. Why? Because like things are coming with risk, right? Like we are, since the morning, we are talking about like the risk of hallucination, the output, the accuracy, the responsible AI, the governance. It comes with all of that. So, and also like very important, I think, it comes with the importance of AI literacy and data literacy. So how to educate people on the use of AI. So you need to have like these programs, I believe. So you need to have maybe like we talked about hackathon, we talked about innovation days, we talked about like maybe get trainings more accessible, maybe invite people, talk about their use cases, and so on and so on. So I think like this is where democratization is going. So yes, for the democratization, but with guardrails and with proper governance. You need to have the foundation. Means like metadata management, like to build a model, you need to have the right foundation of data. Do you have like the right metadata tools management? Do you have like the data quality? Do you have the data lineage? We talked about all this, the data governance. So without all this, you cannot do democratization, right? So this is where I think we are going.
Thank you, Tariq. Anyone would want to take a dig on this? Because, I mean, as we were talking about and putting these guardrails and ensuring that, people don't just build a model and productionalize it, but is it a long shot? Because at the end of the day, people have been using certain things for a very long time. And when you give something which is amazing, like a Gen AI or an AI tool or something like that, isn't it challenging? I mean, what kind of things do you have to do to ensure that everyone is benefiting, the bank is benefiting, and at the same time it is has all the checks and balances from governance and risk perspective?
So Gen AI is something, it's a bit unique, So I was just reading an article in The Economist where the employees are driving this rather than the management, in the sense that, the management, and especially in regulated industries, management is more scared about, and naturally scared about, data leakage, data privacy, but you're seeing the employees starting to adopt this much faster, unprompted. And I think ChatGPT reached 500 million users, I think, in 2 months or something. It was like one of the fastest scale-ups ever in history. So it's inevitable, right? It's like, it's like a train that you're on. You can either get on or get off, but you can't stand in its way and do this. It's just going to run you over.
Right.
So is the idea then from a CIO's point of view or a CEO's point of view is how do you put those governance frameworks around it? And I think that is key. From an operating model point of view, I think you can definitely federate and democratize the applications of the technology and how it is used for the businesses. But I would recommend a more centralized approach on the data frameworks, the AI frameworks, the responsible AI policies, the monitoring of those policies, and the effort to increase AI literacy across the organization.
Great point, Amit. Haishan, coming to you, and again, we have been in many discussions, and we have seen that the LLM and Gen AI use cases typically at a very initial level. People are still experimenting it.
Sure.
But I personally, I have not seen organizations moving from like a very simple processes to getting into risk compliance or maybe more complex processes. Is there an inherent threat or a thought that there is a risk around data privacy in terms of how the LLM models are deployed, around the accuracy? So Haishan, based on your experience, how do you see the banks can overcome that and kind of ensure that the value is being driven out of these LLMs? Generative AI strategy?
Yes, that's a very good question. I'm from Zen Bank. We are a very young digital bank, and our business is basically on corporate banking and digital asset. So, and we're also very eager to innovate on generative AI. So basically, I can share what we have done in our bank, and you can see, okay, how we just just to use AI particularly on Gen AI in our business, and how we just solve like the different issues like governance, like risk control. So basically, at the present, the first thing you have to convince the management team like to know the importance and of generative AI. So basically, in our company we have our AI committee, and we also define our protocol, to protect the data and to follow the compliance and the regulations of the central bank in UAE. And the second one is, we have already deployed and developed our own agent platform we call Zen AI. And basically for this platform, we first encourage everyone in our company to build your own agent. We have like a agent hackathon in our company. And at the present, we have built several very useful agents in our company. The first one actually is compliance agent.
Oh,
so
wow.
basically, we just use compliance agent to help our chief compliance officer to understand the documents from VERA, from ICCA, from central bank, because there are a lot of documents. So you can get a very latest insight from our compliance agent. And the second one is actually we call it data agent, because every day the data team they receive a lot of requests from different departments about reporting, about data visualization, right? But you have to understand the database of your core banking system, something like that, right? So basically we use some tools like OpenMetadata to scan our database, to analyze the database, and we also use ChatGPT to analyze our the documents of our core banking system. So we combine that together, we can convert the natural language very easily to be the circular query of our core banking system, and they can generate the analyzing report very quickly and very easily. And we also have several other things like, we have our KYB agent, because corporate banking business is one of our largest business. So basically for KYB, we have built our own KYB agent that's able to analyze massive of documents from ID, passport to the company information document and the proof of address information. We can automatically do this very quickly. And we also have like a customer service, agent. So this is several agents we have built in our company. And of course, we have our recently we just released our HR agents to onboard, the new employee. You can just we build our own. We used to build our own reg system, retrieval augmented generation system, like our HR policy, the insurance in documents. So when you onboard a new employee, you don't have to ask any of those questions to HR. You can ask our HR agent to do this. But of course, on top of that, data privacy and governance is the most important thing that we should consider. So basically, all our system is built on a cloud, because our company is all the business is on cloud. So we are on the cloud. So everything in our agent platform is based on our cloud. That means the data and document are protected within the cloud. So the second thing is when you build any agent, you have to think about the risk that may cause by the agent, right? So basically, we have also built a agent management platform that is able to manage the agent, the large language models, and the user access control. So basically, we have used this management platform to control the security of the data and our large model application. So this is how we solve this problem in our bank.
Fantastic. I think that's very encouraging. And Ali, you have a point to add?
Yeah. Two things to add here in my view. One, in my humble opinion, the LLM application, FSI, is actually very difficult, because I don't believe that the sector requires this scale of large language model as well. So what I feel in very near future, we will see more SLM or a medium language model emerging, which will be based on two pivots. One will be industry-specific models, and the second would be competency-specific model like human resources, procurement, and that will converge, because today the cost of processing and the whole return on economics will also be a challenge from moving from POC to scale, and that's the point Amit mentioned as well, that the dropout rate seems to be very high. The POC works nice when you put it into production. The amount of compute power and its impact as an industry on the GHG, footprint and all other stuff is an impact. Second thing, what I feel also is important in this context really is that I find next to impossible in the future to actually manage data privacy. if you have today a mobile phone and you have a GPT model already which can take a picture and then convert the entire thing into a text and post it, and there's no source traceability there, it's probably the toughest job which will be before the end of this decade will be the data privacy, because you will have non-attributable people who can put anything out there as long as they have a screen access and could do a screen grab, which was used to be agent-led, but now it is in every device. So I think these are the two things which probably are the most interesting things. I think the latter, perhaps, I don't wish to be a CISO in any bank in the future, probably one of the most difficult jobs ever. And on the first one, I'm very convinced that all the bigger players in the LLM space will come up with these. And this is exactly how at least some of the big techs evolved their data models as well when it all started 10 years back. First there was generic, then there is industry-specific models evolved.
I completely agree with you. I think the small language models is the future, which would be more relevant to the business, more relevant to the departments, based on similar kind of data models. So great point, Ali. Now we've been talking about the democratization, the LLMs, and it's kind of getting into, as Haishan mentioned, I think it's a completely, I don't know how many agents we have in VO, HR agent, compliance agent,
Yeah.
and a lot of agents. That's fantastic. So, I mean, banking has always been a very highly regulated industry, right? Now, a lot of agents, a lot of people accessing the data, a lot of people doing AI. I don't know what all they're doing, using cameras to take pictures. I mean, is there a way, Tariq, maybe the question I'll ask you, is there a proper or a very robust kind of framework from a governance perspective that banking industry is putting in place to ensure that whatever AI applications are being made, whether it's on traditional ML or LLM or SLM, to ensure that the banks are compliant with the regulations, they're compliant with the new regulatory standards like EU AI Act or whatever XYZ Act that is coming. So is a framework that banks are working on, or there's already a framework that is kind of dynamic in nature? So any thoughts on that, Tariq?
I think like every bank should manage the risk and the compliance to different regulations by their own. I mean, like, I don't think like banks should follow the same framework. So a bank like Zen that is like completely on the cloud,
Yeah.
it's very different than a bank like ADCB or Mashreq or CBD that are traditional banks, right? So I think like it's very important to get the right thing done the way the bank is seeing fit. And I think this comes like also like if I, maybe like we talked a lot about the governance, but I think like if I put it to the strategy, so what is our strategy? Is our strategy to have AI? This is not a strategy. I think like AI should be a support
Absolutely.
for the strategy to the bank. And from there, you define your governance, how this piece of technology that you are acquiring will support your strategy while still complying with the regulation, with the ethics, with the bias that comes from the model that can be amplified, and we talked about it, but also like comply with security. I mean, like we touch a lot about the internal security issues to AI when it comes to, again, like bias, fairness, and all. But how about like the external risk that comes with AI? Means like if you are a bank and saying like, okay, so I don't want to touch it, but still Gen AI will impact you. Why? Because your fraud will increase, for example. Today, phishing is a big problem. With Gen AI, it's very easy for people to write a very, very neat email and saying like, okay, so I am this kind of organization. You will have the same logo. You will have like very nice email written, and then you will have like a very nice phishing email, and the problem will increase. You have also problems with now a lot of papers are being written about like cybersecurity and saying like, like with Gen AI, they can break even the biometric security that you have on your phone. How you will deal with that? So all these come with the security, compliance, comes with the governance that you have. So there is no one, I think, like size fits all.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But as long as it's fostering innovation, ensuring that all the guardrails are there, I think that's
Definitely.
what the mantra is. I have a very important question. I'm sure all of you senior stakeholders and most of the people in the room. There's ESG, and I think Ali mentioned about greenhousing emissions as well. I think that has become one of the most important topics at the board level, along with AI. And with the rapid adoption of AI, I think it's a two-edged sword. I mean, AI can benefit all these initiatives in a massive manner. At the same time, adoption of AI will also impact negatively on these things. So how do banks ensure that, whatever investments they're making on AI, it's responsible enough, not only to drive positive business outcome for your business, but also have a positive impact on the society as well. It's a very important topic. I really like this topic, and I would want to hear everyone's view on this. Maybe Amit, you can start with that.
Sure. So Mashreq as a bank, we've significant commitments made towards the environment. The net zero commitment that we made, in COP28, COP29, etc., that we'll be participating. So Mashreq has significant commitments already made for the environment. So from an AI adoption point of view, that is one of the criteria that we use when we are looking at partnering with the right partners. So when we talk to our different partners, especially when you're talking about compute power, talking about data centers, this is one of the criteria that we are using as we are evaluating whom to go with. There are partners in the region who are making significant investments towards green data centers, towards offsetting their carbon footprint, and we are in talks with them to partner with them just because of these reasons, in addition to them being able to provide us with the services that we need. We are also in talks with our customers in terms of how can we use AI and Gen AI to help them better monitor their scope 2, scope 3, whatever the emissions, look at how we can help them to better manage the financing cost on the back of that. So I think this is, it takes a village. This is not, this is not one person, one bank, two banks. Everybody needs to move in that direction.
Right.
And to be honest, I think to Ali's point, this is getting more and more attention because, like you said, the impact of not doing something would be horrendous.
True. And I'm a Mashreq customer, so I see that carbon footprint on my statement. So I'm sure Mashreq is doing. Haishan, on the Zand side,
Yeah.
like I said, it's a double-edged sword. So from Zand's perspective, what would you want to tell us about this?
Sure. I have another case to share. We're going to release a product called Zen Green. And basically because, corporate banking is one of our largest business, right? So, and for our corporate clients, we are going to launch a Zen Green platform, which is AI-powered carbon credit risk assessment platform. Basically, we use satellite data and use AI to analyze all kinds of thousands of carbon credits projects around the world. And then we can assess the risk and we can identify the high quality and high impact carbon credit projects for our clients. So this is what we're going to release. So all the platform is based on AI. So this is something that we try to use AI to do some sustainable banking business. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Tariq?
Yeah, I mean, if you take ESG in general, I think and the LLM, I think building an LLM has huge carbon footprint. So now, for big companies and maybe big banks who wants to go down the line of building their own LLMs, how does this work with your ESG target, right? I mean, should we go ahead and build it? Or should we try to use something off the shelf and try to maybe use more this small language model that will not go against our ESG targets? Because
Right.
I mean using GPUs, using servers this is huge. So yeah, I mean these are ethical questions that also banks and big organizations need to take into account whenever they are taking decisions. For their LLM and AI, Gen AI strategy.
And I think that's why all of these big players like OpenAI and Microsoft, they're investing in these something called small nuclear reactors.
Yeah.
I think just to offset that thing. And I think it's a great opportunity for us to invest in those companies. I'm sure we'll make some good money. But thank you so much for all of you. I am thankful for all the insightful things that you've shared with us and for being thoughtful to respond to these questions. This is no brainer. AI is definitely changing the way banking industry is working. in a very, very positive and a very, very dynamic manner. I believe a lot of other industries always look at financial services in terms of what these guys are doing, because I feel banking and financial services are always the first adopters and mature ones. So thank you again for your time. Again, with a lot of AI things, there's always considerations around governance, compliance, and a lot of fun stuff. But we always look up to your advice and what banks are doing to ensure that we go past it and get the benefit of AI in general. So thank you again. I would like to request everyone to give a big round of applause to our panelists. Thank you. And if there are any questions.